Hey guys and girls, Paul back again, and my mate here, four-legged friend, Dirawong. Dirawong's going to keep an eye on us all, make sure that I'm doing my part and you're doing yours with some learnings. So, today's nugget of wisdom, whitefella law from our elders, is a rather interesting one actually. I heard it a bit when I was a kid. This will say a fair bit about me, I suppose. Not everyone's heard this one, but some have. So basically, the idea is, if you're upset, angry, whatever, somebody's been pushing your buttons and getting you activated, rather than act or react whilst invested in emotion, you should take a deep breath and count to 10. Now, there's actually quite a bit of wisdom in that simple little saying. So, a deep breath as opposed to a shallow breath. A lot of people these days only breathe into the top of the chest, and that actually keeps you into a semi-sympathetic nervous system activation, which is basically fight or flight. However, when you breathe deeply, and when I say deeply, for me, I talk about the muffin top. And the muffin top goes out with a 6-second breath, in with the other 6 seconds, out with 6, and back in with 6. And as I breathe in, for example, I actually visualise the muffin top going out and then returning. Now, there have actually been studies on this, and the science is that with a 6-second breath, as in 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out, you actually activate the optimal activation of your parasympathetic nervous system. And the parasympathetic nervous system is relax. So if you do it now, even just sitting here listening to this, now, I don't know whether that was exactly 6 seconds. Who cares? But I know one thing. On that out breath, you relax. Okay? Now, there's been other studies, even with smokers, and I'm not putting shit on smokers because, hey, ex-smoker, all right? But there's a lot of smokers who think, oh, a cigarette helps me relax. Okay, if that's what you want to believe, you go ahead and hang on to that as long as you want. But there have been studies that go into just the act of doing a drawback, for example. Because there's difference between needing your nicotine and servicing your addiction as opposed to having a cigarette to relax. So what they found is when you draw back, you're actually breathing deeply down, quite literally down into the muffin top, and that is actually what relaxes you. It's not the cigarette, it's actually the... Okay, so there's actually quite a bit of knowledge and wisdom in that simple little activation. Now, I would invite you, next time somebody pushes your buttons, to be aware of this. Don't get into the autopilot of life, where you just start doing whatever on autopilot. Stand back for a second and think, you know what? I might take a breath. And you'll find even, for example, famous people when they're being interviewed, politicians, whatever. Politicians is probably a good example. Not that they're a good example, but politicians, the way they deal with a confrontation or a difficult question, you'll quite often find that they will actually do some kind of maybe even look up, look wise, and then start to answer. Now, whether that's 6 seconds or not, let's forget that for a second. Here's the part of the benefit of going through that little theatre of it. If you take a deep breath in and look up, like I mentioned, so by the time you answer, it sounds so considered that you've put some thought to formulating your answer. And so straight away, you can actually engage people a little bit better. But you also, at the same time, formulate your answer, and as you're starting to give your answer, you're relaxing. And it takes you out of the autopilot activation of fight and flight and makes you calmer, brings you back into your center, something we hear a lot about these days, and actually brings you into the now and to be more present, which is again something that we hear so much in the trendy industry of the new age spirituality. And I said industry on purpose, okay? So I'd invite you all, next opportunity you get, if you can actually take yourself out of that autopilot mode and think, you know what, I'm just going to breathe for a second. Take that deep breath, breathe out, activate the parasympathetic nervous system, begin to relax, and you will find you are now calmer, more centered, more balanced, more focused, and more present for whoever it is that you are now trying to respond to. So that's it in a nutshell for this one, ladies and gentlemen. I look forward to seeing you again next Sunday for the next instalment of Sargacious Sundays. You all have a great week, and I'll catch up with you soon. Ciao for now. Bye.